The rain felt like sharp needles against Simone's skin. It was the kind of cold that went straight to your bones. She sat on her rusted scooter, shivering. Her hands were numb inside her thin gloves. The engine groaned loudly, sounding like it was about to give up completely. Simone patted the dashboard gently. "Please," she whispered, "just hold on a little longer." She looked down at her phone. The screen was cracked, spiderwebs of glass covering the map. A new order flashed on the screen. It was a delivery for the Diamond Tower. Simone's eyes widened. That was the tallest, most expensive building in the whole city. The tip listed on the screen was huge. It was more money than she usually made in an entire week of driving in the rain. Just one more, she told herself. She thought of Ava. At home, her 7-year-old daughter was probably curled up under a thin blanket. The apartment was drafty and the heating bill was overdue. Simone's mother, Patricia, would be watching the clock, worrying about her. Simone needed this money for Ava's school fees. She needed it to keep the lights on. She couldn't afford to be tired. She couldn't afford to say no. She revved the engine, and the scooter lurched forward into the dark, wet night. The Diamond Tower felt like a different world. As Simone pulled up to the entrance, she saw luxury cars that cost more than her entire life's earnings. Valets in crisp white uniforms rushed to open doors for rich guests. Simone parked her rusty scooter around the side, hoping no one would complain. She grabbed the warm delivery bag, clutching it to her chest like a shield. She walked into the lobby. It was silent and smelled like expensive perfume. The floor was glowing marble, so clean she could see her own reflection, wet hair, tired eyes, and a soaked red delivery jacket. Men in dark suits stood by the walls. They didn't speak. They just watched her. Their eyes followed her every move, making her feel small and out of place. She approached the front desk. "Delivery for the penthouse," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. The concierge looked her up and down with a sneer but handed her a key card. "Top floor, don't linger." Simone stepped into the elevator. It moved so smoothly she didn't even feel it rising. She watched the floor numbers tick upward. 20, 30, 40, 50. Her heart started beating faster. Why was she so nervous? It was just a food delivery, but a feeling of dread settled in her stomach, heavy and cold. The elevator doors slid open without a sound. Simone stepped out, expecting a hallway. Instead, the doors opened directly into a massive room. It was dim, lit only by the city lights glowing through floor-to-ceiling windows. The room was quiet, too quiet. It smelled of expensive sandalwood, leather, and something cold like steel. "Hello," Simone called out softly. "Delivery." No one answered. She walked further in, her wet sneakers squeaking slightly on the polished floor. The furniture was sleek and dark. There were no photos, no personal items. It looked like a place where a ghost lived. Then she saw him. A man stood by the giant window, looking out at the rain-soaked city below. He was tall, with broad shoulders that stretched the fabric of his black suit. He held a glass of amber liquid in one hand. Even from the back, he radiated power, dangerous power. He didn't turn around immediately. He took a slow sip of his drink. "You're late," he said. Simone froze. The bag of food nearly slipped from her fingers. That voice. It was deeper now, rougher, but she knew that voice. It was the voice that had haunted her dreams for 7 long years. The man slowly turned around. The lightning from the storm outside flashed, illuminating his face. Simone's breath caught in her throat. It was Lee Junwoo. But this wasn't the boy she had loved 7 years ago. That boy had been gentle, with a shy smile and dreams of escaping his family's business. This man was different. He had a sharp, jagged scar near his eyebrow. His eyes were cold, devoid of the warmth she remembered. He was the dragon of the South now, the ruthless Mafia boss that people in the city only spoke about in terrified whispers. He looked at her. He didn't look at the food. He looked right into her eyes. "I've been waiting 7 years for my order," he said. His voice was smooth, like velvet, but it sent a shiver of pure ice down her spine. He began to walk toward her. His polished shoes echoed on the hard floor. Simone wanted to run. Every instinct in her body screamed at her to flee, but her legs felt like they were made of lead. She was trapped. Junwoo stopped just inches from her. He was so close she could feel the heat radiating from his body. He smelled of rain and musk. He reached out a hand. Simone flinched, expecting him to strike her or grab her. Instead, he reached out and took a damp lock of her hair between his fingers. He rubbed the strands gently, his expression unreadable. "You thought you could hide in the shadows of my city?" he asked. His voice dropped to a dangerous low. "Did you really think I wouldn't find you, Simone?" Simone's heart hammered against her ribs like a trapped bird. I'm just doing my job," she stammered. She tried to pull back, but his gaze pinned her in place. "Everything in this city belongs to me," Junwoo whispered, leaning closer. "Especially the things you try to keep hidden." Does he know? The thought raced through her mind. Does he know about Ava? No, he couldn't. She had been so careful. She had moved neighborhoods, changed her number, stayed invisible. "I'm just the delivery girl, Junwoo," she said, finding a shred of courage. She set the bag on a marble table and straightened her back. "There is nothing else for you here." Junwoo stared at her for a long, agonizing moment. Then, a small, dark smirk touched his lips. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator who had just cornered its prey. "We'll see," he said simply. The elevator doors behind her opened again. It was her chance. Simone didn't wait for a dismissal. She turned and walked quickly into the elevator, pressing the lobby button frantically. As the doors began to close, she looked back. Junwoo hadn't moved. He was watching her with an obsessive fire in his eyes. He looked like a king claiming his queen. As soon as the doors shut, Simone collapsed against the metal wall. She gasped for air, her hands shaking uncontrollably. He was back. The one man she had run away from to save her own soul was back, and he wasn't just a boy anymore. He was a monster who owned the city. She rushed through the lobby, ignoring the stares of the staff. She burst out into the cold rain, climbed onto her scooter, and sped away, not daring to look back at the diamond tower looming over her like a giant tombstone. Simone burst through the peeling door of her tiny apartment. She locked it firmly behind her, engaging all 3 deadbolts. Her chest was heaving. "Simone," her mother, Patricia, looked up from the worn couch. Her warm eyes were full of heavy worry. "Baby, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." Simone didn't answer. She dropped her keys and ran to the small bedroom in the back. 7-year-old Ava was fast asleep on a small bed. Her soft curls were spread across a thin pillow, and she was clutching a worn-out teddy bear. Simone fell to her knees beside the bed. She gently held her daughter's small, warm hand. Ava stirred slightly, letting out a soft sigh, but didn't wake up. Looking at Ava was like looking in a mirror of the past. She had Simone's smile, but she had his eyes. Dark, intense, and shaped exactly like Junwoo. "He's back, Mama," Simone whispered, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. "Junwoo is back." Patricia gasped from the doorway. She knew the danger. She knew why they had run all those years ago. "Oh, Lord," Patricia breathed. "We have to be careful. We have to keep her hidden." The very next day, the shadow of the Mafia fell over their quiet, run-down neighborhood. It started subtly. Simone was walking Ava to her school bus stop. She held Ava's hand tightly, her eyes scanning every corner. Down the street, a black car with deeply tinted windows was parked by the curb. The engine was idling, a low, menacing purr. It was out of place. This was a neighborhood of rusted trucks and old sedans. A sleek, black luxury car stood out like a warning sign. As the yellow school bus pulled up, Simone knelt down and hugged Ava tighter than usual.
"Listen to me, baby. Don't talk to strangers. Go straight inside with your teacher. Grandma will pick you up, okay?"
Simone watched the bus drive away until it disappeared around the corner. When she turned back, the black car slowly rolled past her. The window rolled down just an inch. Simone couldn't see a face, but she felt the eyes. They were watching. Junwoo wasn't just threatening her. He was studying her. Hiding in a city owned by the Dragon of the South was impossible. Simone tried to work her shifts, keeping her head down, but the fear was always there. Later that week, she was carrying a heavy delivery bag down a damp alleyway. It was a shortcut to a customer's apartment. The alley was dark, smelling of garbage and old rain. Suddenly, a figure stepped out from behind a dumpster, blocking her path. It was Marcus Lee. He wasn't part of Junwoo's inner circle, but he was a known associate, a bottom feeder who worked for the underground. He was greasy, with a fake smile that made Simone's skin crawl.
Well, if it isn't the boss's old flame.
Get out of my way, Marcus.
You think you're special? The dragon might want you, but out here you're just a girl alone in the dark.
Simone prepared to fight, but she knew she was overpowered. Panic rose in her throat. Suddenly, a blinding light flooded the alley. The roaring engine of a sleek black car echoed off the brick walls. Tires screeched as the car drifted to a halt just inches from them. The door flew open. Junwoo stepped out. He wasn't wearing a suit jacket this time. His white shirt was rolled up to his elbows, revealing tattoos that wrapped around his muscular forearms. His face was a mask of cold fury. His aura was completely terrifying. "Boss," Marcus stammered, backing away from Simone. I was just teaching her a lesson." Junwoo didn't speak. He walked past Simone as if she wasn't there. He moved like a shadow. In one fluid motion, he grabbed Marcus by the throat and slammed him against the brick wall. The sound of the impact made Simone jump. "I didn't tell you to touch her," Junwoo said. His voice was quiet, but it carried more weight than a scream. "I told you to watch her." Junwoo signaled his men, who had emerged from the shadows. They grabbed a screaming Marcus and dragged him away into the darkness. Silence returned to the alley. Simone stood shivering, clutching her delivery bag. Junwoo turned to face her. The rage in his eyes slowly faded, replaced by that dark, possessive intensity. He walked over to her. He took off his expensive watch and placed it in his pocket, as if preparing to work. Then, he took off his suit jacket from the car seat and draped it over Simone's shoulders. It was heavy, warm, and smelled like him. "You shouldn't be walking in places like this," he said sternly. "I have to work, Junwoo," Simone replied, her voice shaking. "I don't have a choice." He reached out and tilted her chin up so she had to look at him. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. "You always have a choice," he murmured. "You chose to leave. You chose to struggle." "I chose to survive," she shot back. Junwoo's eyes darkened. "You don't need to survive anymore. You belong to me, Simone. You always have." He wasn't asking. He was stating a fact. He turned and got back into his car. "My men will drive you home. Don't argue." Junwoo refused to let her slip away again. He was suffocating her with his presence, even when he wasn't there. The following evening, there was a knock at her apartment door. Patricia opened it carefully. A delivery man stood there with a large, velvet box. "For Miss Hayes," he said, handing it over and leaving. Simone opened the box on her kitchen table. Inside lay a beautiful emerald green satin dress. It was the color of deep forests. Next to it was a pair of silver heels and a simple note written in elegant handwriting. "Wear it. 8 p.m. "He's not going to stop, is he?" Patricia asked quietly, holding Ava's hand. "No," Simone said, running her fingers over the silk. "He wants answers." "Are you going to tell him?" Patricia asked. "About Ava?" Simone looked at her daughter. Ava was drawing pictures at the table, oblivious to the danger. "I can't, Mama, if he finds out. His enemies will find out. She'll become a target. I have to make him hate me again. It's the only way to make him let me go." The tension is getting unbearable. Simone is walking back into the lion's den to save her daughter's secret. What do you think Junwoo will do if he finds out the truth? Before we head to the restaurant, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Join our notification squad so you never miss a twist in this story. Now, let's see if Simone can lie to the Mafia boss. A black limousine picked Simone up. She felt like an imposter in the expensive dress, but she held her head high. She was a mother protecting her child. That gave her strength. The car took her to a private restaurant on the top of a cliff overlooking the ocean. The entire place was empty except for one table in the center, surrounded by candles. Junwoo was waiting. He stood up when she entered. He looked incredible in a tailored charcoal suit, his hair perfectly styled. But his eyes were hungry. "You look beautiful," he said softly. He pulled out her chair. Simone sat down, her heart racing. Why are you doing this, Junwoo? Why now? He sat across from her and poured wine into her glass. Because I need to know, he said, leaning forward. Why did you really run away 7 years ago? We were happy. I was ready to leave the life for you. Simone gripped the stem of her wine glass. This was the moment. She had to break his heart all over again. I didn't love you, she lied. Her voice was steady, but inside she was screaming. I was young. I was scared of your world. I realized. I didn't love you enough to die for you. Junwoo flinched. The words hit him like bullets. He stared at her, searching for the truth in her eyes. You're lying, he whispered. I'm not, Simone insisted. I moved on, Junwoo. I have a different life now, a life that doesn't involve guns and blood. Is there someone else? He demanded, his voice rising. Is there another man? That's none of your business, Simone said, standing up. Thank you for the dinner. Please just let me go. She turned to leave, but she could feel his anger radiating behind her. He didn't believe her, not for a second. From a dark corner of the restaurant terrace, unnoticed by Junwoo or Simone, another man was watching. Kim Do-won, the rival Mafia boss, sipped his expensive whiskey with a wicked smirk. He was older than Junwoo, with gray streaked in his hair and a cruel scar on his cheek. For years, he had searched for a way to break the dragon of the South. Junwoo had no weaknesses, no family, no friends, no vices. But now he had one. Do-won watched how Junwoo looked at the delivery girl. He saw the obsession. He saw the pain. Interesting, Do-won muttered to his bodyguard. The dragon has a heart after all. He pulled out his phone. Find out everything about the girl, he ordered. Where she lives, who she lives with. Find me the leverage I need to crush him. 2 days later, the tension finally snapped. Simone was coming home from a grocery run. As she approached her apartment building, Junwoo stepped out from the shadows of the entrance. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept in days. He had run a deep background check. He knew something didn't add up. You don't have a boyfriend, he said, blocking her path to the door. I checked. You spied on me. Simone dropped her grocery bags. You have no right. I have every right, Junwoo shouted, losing his cool. He grabbed her shoulders. I know you're hiding something. Who is living in that apartment with you? I saw the toys in the window, Simone. Who is the child? Simone's blood turned to ice. It's my niece, she lied desperately. My sister's kid. Liar, Junwoo shook her gently. Tell me the truth. Before Simone could answer, her phone rang in her pocket. The ringtone pierced the tense air. Simone pulled away and looked at the screen. It was Patricia. I have to take this, she said, her hands shaking. She answered, Mama. Simone, Patricia's voice was completely broken. She was screaming, sobbing. Simone, help, they broke in, they hurt me. Mama, Simone screamed. What happened? Where are you? Men in masks, Patricia gasped. They took her, Simone, they took Ava. Simone dropped the phone. It clattered onto the pavement. The world spun around her. Her knees gave out, and she fell to the ground, a raw, animalistic scream tearing from her throat. No, AVA. Junwoo was beside her in an instant. He grabbed her arms, pulling her up. Simone, what happened? Speak to me. Simone looked at him. Her eyes were wild with terror. The secret didn't matter anymore. Her pride didn't matter. Nothing mattered but Ava. She shoved the brightly lit phone screen against Junwoo's chest. Tears streamed down her face as the ultimate secret finally spilled out into the night. They took my daughter, Junwoo, she screamed, hitting his chest with her fists. Do-won's men. They took your daughter. Junwoo froze. He looked at Simone, his eyes wide with shock. My daughter. She's 7 years old, Simone sobbed, collapsing into his arms. She has your eyes. They took her because of you. You have to save her. The shock on Junwoo's face vanished instantly. In its place, something terrifying emerged. The calm, controlled Mafia boss was gone. In his place stood a father fueled by pure, unstoppable rage. He didn't ask questions. He didn't yell at her for hiding the truth. He simply pulled out his phone and spoke one word into it. War. Within minutes, heavily armed men flooded the streets. SUVs pulled up, tires screeching. Junwoo grabbed Simon's hand. "Get in the car." "I'm coming with you," she said fiercely. "I wasn't asking," he replied. "I am never letting you out of my sight again." He loaded a magazine into a handgun with a sharp click. His face was made of stone. "If they touch a single hair on her head," he whispered to himself, "I will burn this entire city to the ground." Miles away, little Ava huddled in the pitch-black trunk of a moving car. It smelled of gasoline and dust. Her knee was scraped, and she was terrified. But she remembered what her mother had always taught her. Be brave, think smart. Her small, shaking hands clutched a spare phone she had managed to grab from the kitchen counter when the bad men broke in. The screen glowed in the dark trunk. She saw a contact named Mommy. With trembling fingers, she typed a desperate message. "Help. Bad men took me. Warehouse near water. I hear boat horn." She hit send just as the car came to a stop. Back in Junwoo's speeding car, Simon's phone pinged. She read the message aloud. "Warehouse near the water. Boat horns. It's the docks," Junwoo said sharply. "The old shipping yard."
We're moving in.
He slammed on the gas.
It's clear. Let's move.
They arrived at the docks. It was a maze of rusted shipping containers and abandoned warehouses. Rain lashed down, hiding their movements. Junwoo's men fanned out, silent and deadly. Junwoo kept Simone behind him, his body shielding hers. They approached the largest warehouse. Faint light spilled from under the metal doors. "Stay close," Junwoo commanded. He kicked the door open. It flew off its hinges with a deafening
Stay
crash.
close.
Inside, Kim Do-won stood in the center of the concrete floor. He was surrounded by 10 armed thugs. And there, tied to a chair in the middle, was Ava. She was crying, but she looked unharmed. "Daddy," she whispered, looking at the man storming in. She didn't know him, but she felt it. "Let her go, Do-won," Junwoo roared, his voice echoing like thunder. "So it's true," Do-won laughed, holding a gun to Ava's head. "The dragon has a hatchling, a cute one too. If you point that gun at her one more second, you die,"
You die.
Junwoo warned. He raised his own weapon. "Drop your gun," Do-won shouted, "or the girl bleeds." Junwoo hesitated. He couldn't risk it. He slowly lowered his gun. Simone held her breath, her hand covering her mouth. "Kill him," Do-won ordered his men. But Junwoo was faster. He didn't drop the gun. He dove to the side, firing 3 shots in a split second. 3 of Do-won's men dropped. Chaos erupted. Gunfire echoed like thunder through the warehouse. Junwoo moved like a shadow, tearing through anyone in his path. He was a whirlwind of violence, fighting to get to his child. Junwoo's men engaged the thugs, clearing a path. Junwoo sprinted toward Ava. Do-won, realizing he was losing, snarled in anger. He aimed his gun not at Junwoo, but at Simone, who had run forward to untie Ava. "If I can't have the city, you can't have a family," Do-won screamed. He pulled the trigger. "No!" Junwoo saw the barrel turn. He didn't hesitate for a second. He threw himself in front of Simone and Ava. The bullet hit Junwoo in the shoulder. The force spun him around, and he fell to the concrete. "Junwoo!" Simone screamed. But Junwoo wasn't done. From the ground, he raised his gun one last time. His eyes were focused and deadly. He fired one single shot. It struck Do-won squarely in the chest. The rival boss collapsed. His reign of terror ended forever. Silence fell over the warehouse. The heavy doors swung open, letting in the cool night air. "Mommy," Ava cried. Simone ripped the ropes off her daughter and pulled her into a bone-crushing hug. "I've got you, baby. I've got you," Simone sobbed. Junwoo groaned, clutching his bleeding shoulder. He tried to sit up. Ava pulled away from Simone and looked at the man on the floor, the scary man who had saved them. Junwoo looked at the little girl. Up close, the resemblance was undeniable. She had his nose, his eyes, his spirit. "Are you okay?" he wheezed, pain etching his face. Ava reached out with a small hand and touched his cheek. "You're bleeding." Junwoo closed his eyes, leaning into her small touch. A single tear tracked through the dirt and blood on his face. The ruthless Mafia boss was finally broken, not by his enemies, but by the love he thought he had lost. Paramedics arrived, flanked by Junwoo's security. They patched up his shoulder. It was a clean shot. He would live. As they sat in the back of the ambulance, the rain finally stopped. The clouds broke, revealing the moon. Junwoo looked at Simone. "I have endless money," he said quietly. "I have absolute power. I have the whole city. But tonight, I realized it means absolutely nothing without you two." He reached out his good hand. "I will never let you go again, Simone. I will protect you both until my last breath." Simone looked at him. She looked at Ava, who was holding Junwoo's hand fearlessly. The fear was gone. She realized she couldn't run from this. They were bound by blood and by love. She took his hand. Her beautiful eyes were fierce and strong. "If we do this," she said, "we do it my way, no more secrets, and we are a family first." "Anything," Junwoo whispered. "Anything for my family." They were a family now, forged in fire and shadow, ready to face the world together. Wow, what an ending. From a delivery girl in the rain to the queen of the Mafia underworld. Junwoo finally got his family back, but at a huge cost. I want to know what you think. Should Simone have told him about Ava sooner? Or was she right to hide her to keep her safe? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Before you go, please hit that subscribe button. It's more than just a click. It's your way of making sure these stories of resilience, hidden secrets, and fierce love keep coming to life. The emotional connection. They say the hardest thing a woman can do is protect her child from the shadow of the man she once loved. Simone didn't just survive the rain. She survived the heartbreak of a lifetime to keep Ava safe. Seeing the dragon of the South finally drop to his knees, not for power, but for the love of a little girl, reminds us that even the darkest hearts have a flicker of light.